Welcome back to DIY Willie, and well, today it's a beautiful Sunday morning. You can tell it's a beautiful Sunday morning, and we're working with the Frontier. Now I am, if you've seen the other video, I am working on timing chains, and today, well, I need to change the heater hoses that go to the heater core. They have a leak, and I'll show you that right now. And I have the new hoses, and we'll just change them out. I'm at an advantage because I have the engine broke down the way I do for the timing chains, and I have the plenum off, and it just, the valve covers off on that side, and it just makes reaching those hoses a lot easier. And it would be a little more difficult with the plenum and everything on there, but it also makes it easier to film it right now. What I've got, I'll show you where it's leaking and why I'm changing it, and I'll show you the parts I'm using to change it out. Okay, so as you can see, we have antifreeze residue on the outside of the hose of this fitting, and this is more like a tube. It runs from there all the way across the back firewall and down towards the water pump on this side. So this is your heater core. Up inside here you've got two spots. That's your heater core. This is a manufactured joint and it's leaking, so we're going to change all of this with this hose. We'll keep this hose, but we're changing, it's also got a leak. Let me see, on this side I've already taken the hose off, but I'm just trying to reproduce what I'm doing, and it breaks off on the bottom down there. So yeah, we're going to take it off. Now it is all, these hoses have all these little clamps here. You just squeeze them. Let's see, where's my pliers? So these hoses all have these little clamps here on them, and if you don't have the specialty tool that squeezes those, you can use pair of needle nose pliers like this, or even full-size pliers, and just give them a squeeze. You can also use locking pliers like these that will get in here and lock it like that in the open position, and you just wiggle them off. I've already taken these clamps down, so I'm just going to pull the hose off. You want to be gentle. Now you don't want to damage inside where the heater core is. You damage in the heater core, that's a whole nother world to take it apart because it's behind the dash. So what I had to do on the bottom, since it was stuck on this one pretty good, I slit the hose. Now we're scrapping this hose anyway, so I make a slit in the hose. That makes it easier to pull off because it's kind of stuck on there. And I pulled the clamp off this side up here too, and I also made a slit in that hose so that it would come off the heater core, because you don't want to put too much pressure there. Remember, I'm telling you, that heater core, you do not want to damage it inside. So this is the first piece coming out, and you can see that little slit I made in the hose right here. That allowed it to come off of that water outlet over there on the engine block, and I made the little slit right here to relieve the pressure to come off the heater core. Now this piece is scrap. We're not going to use this anymore. We will use the clamps most likely, except for this one. We will use the clamps, but yeah, we're gonna get the other one off, and then we'll put this one back on first, the new one, and then we'll put that one back on, and we'll show you the parts we use. Okay, looking at the parts we're gonna use today, we've got the new firewall heater hose piece, tube, whatever you want to call it. This is the part number for it right there, and that goes across the back of the firewall. We have this hose right here, part numbers. This is the hose heater inlet. We have that one, and then we have this little piece that goes with that small hose is the hose assembly heater. Now how they identify the parts, I don't know, but we're gonna put it together. Let me assemble this one now and get it ready to go on. Now what you can do when you're assembling these to make them a little bit easier, you can put a little bit of dish soap on the inside of the hose and on the fitting that we have here, and that helps them just slide on a little easier, especially back there at the heater core. You know, we don't want to damage that heater core, like I said before. So if we lubricate it going on, it just goes on that much easier. So FedEx, let him go by. So we'll just lubricate it, everything, and it'll slide right on there, and we don't risk damaging the heater core. So I'm just going to assemble this with this hose and get going. Man, those dogs really love FedEx. Every one of them are barking. Okay, so we're taking our hose assembly piece. Now these have an ingenious way of holding the clamps open. See that? I don't quite know how I'm going to trigger that, except maybe squeezing it and then it'll automatically close, I hope, but we're going to give it a shot. And it goes, I've already put the clamps on this one. It goes in this orientation with this piece pointing up like that. Not really sure why, but this is what Nissan did. Alright, to assemble these pieces, you know, sometimes the hose fittings can be kind of tight. Take a little bit of dishwater, clean dishwater, okay? A little dish soap, a little bit of water, just put it on there like that. You can put a little bit inside the hose and just squeeze them together, and they go together real nice, just like that. So yeah, then I'll take the pliers and I'll lock that clamp on there. Here I'm trying to prove something and it's not working. I'll just lock it on there like that. Like that. Release the pliers and we're golden. That hose is now assembled. I'll do the same thing here, put a little bit of the dishwater here, put a little bit over there. You don't really want to use an oil-based product. I mean, you could, I guess, if you want to, but this at least will not damage the antifreeze or the water that goes in there. And you just keep it, lubricate it over there, and we'll just push it on. All right, we got that piece off in time lapse. You can see here, you can see where it's got a lot of corrosion, antifreeze residue, wherever where it was seeping through the leak. And again, I cut the hose to relieve it from the heater core, make it easier. And I cut the hose to relieve it off of the outlet pipe down there by the water pump. So that's the old piece. We're gonna go ahead and change it with a new one. This is the new piece, ready to go. This is the part number for that piece, right there. And I don't know what it's called, heater assembly or heater hose, something. Anyway, now I'll go through the process of getting that one installed. I will go ahead and put that new piece on. It attaches here at the heater core, down here at the water outlet, and this, I'm not sure what that is, but it's got its own little hose over here. We'll get it on there. So I'm just going to inspect the area where it's going. Seems to be clean, good. This one, that one you could use a little bit of sandpaper, but we can do that one in a minute. Again, we're going to lubricate it. Make it easier to slide on. A little bit of soapy water. Just push pushes on like that. Push it back until it seats. And get a close-up. Hold on. There we go. Just push it back until it seats against the heater core there. And then take the pliers. You can just take the pliers and give it a squeeze. I can't do it with my left hand. There, like that. Just give it a squeeze, and it locks up. And that connection is made. Now we can put this hose on. Put a little bit of delicious soap on that. Soapy water. Make it easier to go on. And we'll just push it on. There we go. And I'll put that clamp on it. Right there. Done. Now, I've got those 10mm bolts that go there. I'll put those on and then make that connection down there. I kind of want to sand that a little bit to get rid of the rust. So I'll do that right now. 10mm bolts go on there. I'm telling you, this is way easier when you don't have the plenum right here. Somebody with the plenum, it would definitely be harder to do. But this is great for filming it, you know. And those don't go too tight. Just get them like that. I might give them one little twist of the ratchet, but other than that, they just go like that. They've got some rubber isolation bushings in them, so I don't know if it shakes a lot or if it's just trying to protect the heater core. Okay, now I'll get to the one down there on the bottom. I'm just going to take a piece of sandpaper and clean that one up a little bit. So there's the last of the heater hose connections right down there behind the transmission, or excuse me, behind the oil dipstick. Right there. And again, you just squeeze those two ends together on the clamp and it releases and cinches up real nice. Hose runs along the back. Got the two 10mm bolts there. I hold it on inside the rubber isolator bushings, and then the connections made at the heater core itself coming through the firewall. So it's an easy job to do, especially in the condition I'm in right now. Somebody that has the valve cover and the plenum on, it would be a much harder job. But this at least gives you an idea of what the parts are and what's involved. A nice clear view. Move the harness out of the way. Gives it a nice clear view of the whole job. So yeah, that's installing the heater hoses on the Nissan Frontier 2nd gen. And I bought all new hoses. I showed you the part numbers earlier. And so please leave a comment. If you have a question about what I did, especially if you have all the parts in, you can't exactly see what it is you need to do. This, by having the condition, the engine in the condition it's in right now with all the parts off of it, really gives a clear view of what that is, that swap on those hoses. So yeah, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. That subscription really helps me out. The thumbs up really helps me out. And leave a comment, ask any questions you like. And well, I gotta get back to work on putting the rest of this engine back together. Hopefully it runs. And I'll see you next time.